So here we are, blissing out, feeling not only bliss as energy, but also the abundance of this beautiful energy that is flowing through us, because we are every day going deeper and deeper and higher into the heart of the mother. Before these events and before I do my private sessions, I always spend a lot of time in meditation, in preparation, sometimes hours, just to be in the most radiant state of the rainbow body, in the biggest expansion. And yesterday I was in a workshop all day learning about Taoist anatomy, and I hope I pronounce it okay. But it was an all-day workshop. And then I only had a very few minutes to get the family ready for dinner and get the dogs ready for dinner, and then quickly start the call at 5 p.m. And so I didn't have time to go into deep meditation that I usually do. And so I was quickly getting ready. I had like 2 minutes, and I thought, I'm not in that state where I want to be, because if I'm not in that state, how am I going to share anything that comes from the mother? And so I quickly called upon the mother, and I said, Mother, which breathing technique should I do, or should we do to get into that state? And she said, Adi, just go into love. And I thought, wow, what an amazing guidance. Just go into love, attune to love. And so I thought, wow, that's the shortcut. We should never forget. Love is the ultimate attunement. And so I said, I was surprised by the answer, and yet not surprised at all. It was like an aha moment. So I was thinking in terms of like complicated breathing techniques, how many should we do? Should we do all the ones we've been doing? And she's like, just attune to love. And to me, this is, a breakthrough teaching. And again, also not so breakthrough at all. And so yesterday, if you were on the 5 p.m. call, we just watched this beautiful video that Patricia was sharing at the World Congress on Illumination. And it was the third video, which was about being an open cup to love. And it opened us up. And I hope that these calls actually work through all of us to open us up. And I know sometimes we have, conditions in life that maybe we don't yet feel the bliss. Sometimes we still feel something else, but it's okay. We all are coming into bliss. And I know Divine Mother is working through all of us every single day to attune us to more and more of her love and bliss. So I'm still keeping my, what people call the 3D job, but, I do it as part of my mission to humanity, really. And I was going to have this very difficult call with my boss. I work in the medical department, and my boss is the big boss in these companies. And what I did is that I called in Divine Mother. And I'm sharing this so that you all know how to work like this, the magic that is available to us. And so before the call, I just called Divine Mother, and I completely surrendered everything to her. And I asked her to work, through our hearts, and to be the energy between me and my boss in this case. And Divine Mother was just flooding us the whole time. And she created the most beautiful solutions to everything. And so she creates greatness, even if the other person might not be attuned to her, consciously. We can invite her to flow through those we encounter. And so I think this is the greeting of Namaste. When you see the Divine Mother working through all hearts, and she is the ultimate harmonizer. She harmonizes our lives. This is so important because we have been part of a civilization that not only has lived really out of harmony so much, but also we disconnected from that amazing power of the mother. As we know, it happened in our society, it happened in so many civilizations, and so now is the return. She is here. Again, I have a very strong morning practice. To me, the mornings I feel the best in the morning. I feel blissful in the morning. And it is because of the practices. And so I want to share what happened this morning. So first thing, it really depends on how you sleep. I really think so. And yesterday I learned something amazing from the Taoist teacher who was a real master, very, very, very advanced Taoist master. And so he was teaching also something that I didn't know, but it was something the Divine Mother taught me. And there was so many aha moments. He was teaching things the Divine Mother taught us. And I thought, well, Divine Mother, she is the ultimate Tao, as she always says she is. So no wonder. But she is the mother of simplicity. And so whatever seems to be very complicated in many teachings, because, it seems like you could spend many lifetimes studying it and still never get it anyway, she brings it really into our hearts and bodies so simply. And so when Divine Mother first came to me in 2017, she changed the way I sleep, and she changed my relationship with my skeleton. Now, this is really, interesting. And she actually spoke about the skeleton so much to me all the time. I remember going with my family on a trip to Sedona, and I even downloaded an app where you can learn about the skeleton, like a medical app, because the Divine Mother wanted me to understand the alignment that is actually possible within the body that would allow these spiritual energies to flow. And so she taught me how to sleep really in the uttermost alignment on my back, and not even with a real pillow, but with a special pillow, so that the spine is like a straight channel, the arms, the legs, everything is, completely aligned, so that these cosmic energies can actually flow fully. And yesterday, this Taoist master, he was sharing that the Taoists actually, when they practice even in their sleep, they sleep this way. And it's a position, really. It's a pose you take before you, depart the body and go to other dimensions. So I found it very interesting. So that's how I sleep. And I, again, recommend, and I'll show soon the pillow that I use. I thought about it because it's such an amazing pillow. I bought it for like $50, but it's miraculous for those of you who want to try this. And so I always focus on the third eye. But in the morning, it's good to have, what do you do when you wake up? What do you do before you even open your eyes? What breath you take? How do you run your energy? How do you run the energy through the spine? How do you open your third eye? How do you really use the breath to activate yourself? So, this is the practice that I have. And then connecting with your divine self and with your body elemental. Nothing can beat it these days, because we can go to these very, very, very high levels of our own consciousness. And so I'm connecting to my divine self, and I close my eyes and I just, invoke the divine self. And I was just saying, what I envision for this day to be fully guided in terms of consciousness by my divine self, and guided by the body elemental in terms of the physical reality. What does your body, Deva, want to do in the physical reality? How does the body, Deva, want to move? How does she want to tone? What does she want to eat? What does she want to drink, And so on and so on. And as I was talking to the divine self, this absolutely bright light, absolutely incredible bright light appeared next to me. It was to my right. And I was just so grateful that we have this amazing connection now with our divine self. And so I want to share this so that you know that even if you are not clairvoyant, maybe your third eye is not opening, when you ask your divine self to be here with you now and guide your consciousness, guide your thoughts, guide your feelings, your divine self is here right now with you, actually listening and guiding you moment to moment to moment. And it's just about attunement. And we go back to what that attunement is. And the attunement can only happen through our open heart. And so then I was asking Divine Mother, I said, so Divine Mother, how do we always attune to love? And she said, it truly is moment to moment. What do you love? What songs do you love? What movement would you like to, express yourself as? What breathing exercises do you really love? How do you love spending your time? What jobs do you like to do that you really love? And this was the important thing, spending our time doing what we love. And I asked her, we don't have all that freedom very often to really fully just do what we love. And she said, well, that's just because we have so many patterns. And so she showed me this pattern, these patterns. And that is patterns from childhood, patterns from past life, patterns that we picked up in so many different realms. We might have patterns from the outside, patterns from the inside. And these patterns ideally can all dissolve, because freedom is our spontaneous expression. And she talked about this to me this morning quite a bit, actually. The freedom to be something new, to be a new version of our being, to be even more divine than yesterday, every day. Why not? Cleaning up the patterns. And so this is so amazing that that's the work we do here. Yes, we talk about cosmic abundance, but of course we understand as mystics what it really, really, really means. Cosmic abundance cannot be disconnected from our divinity. It is actually an aspect of our divine self. And so our divine self is absolutely abundant. Our divine self works in harmony with the body deva to create something so beautiful that is you. The third element, the marriage between consciousness and matter, is you, really. And we embody both. So as we work with cosmic abundance, we are simply allowing our divine self to be more and more and more in charge, which means we are more and more liberated from the patterns that we are dissolving. And before we go into our meditation today, which will be all about success. What is success? We have to go back to our beloved Yogananda to define success. It has really very little to do with attainment of something physical. And that might be disappointing, but not really. So let's take a look at how it all works. Since I've traveled through also parallel realities, I'm going to share actually from this point of view. So we are in a third dimension, but because we are in a third dimension, it doesn't mean that we don't have access to the fourth, to the fifth, to the sixth, to the seventh, and so on and so on. There's many dimensions that actually exist for you within your structure. Your structure is the structure of many bodies that you have. Many of them maybe are not really tangible to us, but we can activate each level of those subtle bodies. And we do it through consciousness. We only can do it really through consciousness. But also I think, and this is just a thought that I have, because these days, I heard, for example, Matthias De Stefano speaking about ayahuasca. I don't do ayahuasca myself, but I think what he was describing is that when people, take these, whatever we want to call it, plant medicines, that they suddenly have access to these higher dimensions. But it is pretty spontaneous, I assume, and also not organized. Whereas when you work with consciousness and you do your meditations, and for example, you work with Orin and you engage your higher self, your soul, your spirit, your obviously amazing divine self, your I am presence, then you actually build very reliable openings. And then you know exactly where you're going and how well you actually are organized. And then you have access to these higher dimensions through your work. And so it can happen that through your meditations, you start opening up to the fifth dimension. The fourth dimension for us already is the dimension where we go into the dream state, and it's kind of random. And there's a lot that happens in the fourth dimension. It's the same kind of dream reality like here, but here it's a little bit more physical. So in the fourth dimension, it's a little bit more non-physical, but also like a mixture of all different things. So you can meet all sorts of beings, I would say good and bad. And so we really want to be going beyond the fourth dimension. For example, Yogananda said, in a dream state, if you are still dreaming random stuff, that's because you're going to the fourth dimension where just randomness happens. But ideally, you want to go into the light, just pure light, and be in the light. And that would be going into the higher dimensions. But also you could be going into these higher schools of learning, which are also in the higher and higher dimensions. And so with your being, you can build, your multidimensionality. And again, Orin is always doing this for us. But the thing is that once you achieve or reach really your one-to-one encounter, contact with God, with Source, with Creator, with Divine Mother, you might realize something super interesting. And this is where people call this a dream reality, a hologram. You will realize that we all actually are dreaming. And that's okay. So when people say, this is just a dream, well, not just. It is creation. All of creation is one big cosmic dream. There would be nothing if beings were not dreaming. But the only thing that is slightly negative or very unfortunate about this dream that we are part of is that 8 billion beings forgot that they are dreaming and how to dream beautifully. Hopefully this makes sense. So, when I had this amazing encounter with Source Creator in 2015, I would say it was a very masculine conversation or presence, explained to me that all beings have this beautiful gift to use their higher mind and higher heart to dream beautiful dreams. Some beings can dream even a whole solar system, a whole universe into being. It is a dream, but it's a very beautiful dream. That is cosmic creation. It's all being birthed through us. Now, when you come to this slow kind of time and space reality, we are still doing it, but we forgot that we are doing it. So think about this. When you get dreamers who forget that they are dreaming, and then the dream becomes random, and then they start believing that the dream is so real that it actually controls them, and they get attached to it, for example. That's why we have so many teachings about, non-attachment, freedom, liberation, detachment, and who knows what, right? Well, it is because we don't want dreamers to believe the dream is so real. But we want them to know that they are in a dream, but to awaken from it, that means become a deliberate dreamer, to participate consciously, to dream well this time, yes. So this is so huge when it comes to cosmic abundance, isn't it? Or to success. So the movie Matrix, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So everyone's in a dream, playing a role, but they forgot that they are in a dream playing a role they chose to some extent. And so they look to something on the outside and they say, this is so real, it's controlling my life. For example, I don't know, I have an enemy, or I don't have enough, or I have so much I want to hold on to it. I need this. If I don't have this, I'm not going to be happy, and so on and so on. So everybody knows. So how did I see this? Well, first I saw this when Source showed me all of creation. I will put this on YouTube. In 2015, I was able to actually get this amazing overview of creation with Source. And Source said, all of it is a dream. And I looked at Source and I said, even the angelic queendom, even the master temples, even all these amazing things that we see in higher dimensions. And Source has a very good sense of humor and just laughed and said, yes, all of it is creation. Creation is a dream. It can be very beautiful, but also it can be very ugly, depending on what the beings are dreaming. But it all is a beautiful dream if you want it to be. Without dream, there is no creation. And so let us enjoy this creation. Let us make beautiful galaxies. Let us expand into cosmic consciousness. Let us break through and understand the game of life and play it well. And we can go into complete freedom and say, I don't want to dream anymore. But then creation stops. And that's why we all need to be creative. And the creative thing is something so different from just painting and drawing and singing, you know. We are to be the creators of beautiful dreams. So this was the first time I realized that it all is a beautiful dream, and that's wonderful if we make it so. And then later, I think it was around 2020, I visited these many parallel realities, and I was pretty blown away by them, because I realized there are parallel realities where humans like us live completely ordinary lives. And ordinary, I mean, I came into this parallel reality, and you know, this can happen, and many people in this world already have visited these realities that are actually simply next to us with humans. And sometimes it actually happens that humans accidentally, right, end up in a different parallel reality. So not a higher dimension, but simply another timeline with humans. And so I ended up in this parallel reality when I traveled out of body. And I saw just humans, you know, playing baseball, parents watching their kids. And I thought, wow, I don't want to be here. That's a little too normal. So I started to chant Om. And again, I ended up in a parallel reality, just humans, you know, doing their stuff. And then I chanted Om, and I was like, please, I want to get out of here. But it was humans who could see me, actually. So it was absolutely incredible. So they saw me and they were like, please stay, you know, tell us what you're doing. You're like a time traveler. And I chanted Om, trying to escape again, because Om should help you to move on. But my Om somehow was not letting me out. And so I ended up in someone's kitchen. Now, this is really funny. Imagine you cooking dinner and suddenly this time traveler appears in your kitchen and you can see them. Of course, because it happens to us too, doesn't it? You can have a visitation from ghosts. You can have a visitation from your loved ones. You can have a visitation from beings, you know. So, okay, I ended up in a kitchen and it was a family I knew. I knew it was a family. Let's put it like this. I knew I was in a home of a family, but it was the father who was making dinner. And they had kids in the house and the wife was in the house, but I didn't see them. I just knew they were in. So the father sees me. I'm in his kitchen and he just looks at me and he said, am I dreaming? And I said, yes. But it was something much bigger than both of us could imagine. It was like being in a lucid dream where you are in the matrix and you neo and you wake up and you realize you have been dreaming all along, and that all that you have known has been a dream. Now, me and this guy, I don't know who he is. It was a very short encounter, but we went together. We figured out, and I was able to confirm to him that this is a dream which came from my superconscious mind. I was able to break the dream with the superconsciousness. So when we step into superconscious mind, where we absolutely understand we are dreaming, it actually disrupts the dream and we wake up. And so me and this guy, we figured out this has been going on for millions of years. And we forgot that we are dreaming. And maybe millions of years is not interesting to you, but maybe this is interesting to you when you look at the last civilization that we are familiar with. At least you can look at your great-grandparents, your great-grandparents, your parents, yourself, your children. What if we all are dreaming and we simply forgot that we are in the dream, and that our mind simply also has the power to do something else, and that is bend reality, to truly wake up? What would that be like? So this is what we're going to practice here today.